Right, so here we've got two 65-inch TVs, one of them being the more budget TCL C7K and the other one being the LG C5 Oled. Now we're doing a comparison because I think it's going to be good for anybody looking to buy a TV, but also can you still get a good TV for a much lower price, and how do they stack up next to each other? Right, so that being said, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's crack on. Right, so first of all, if I'm shining, it's because I'm melting. It's absolutely red hot in here, so if you were curious as to why, then there you go. So we've got the TCL C7K. This has got a mini LED display. It uses Quantum Dot Pro, and you can get this TV for about £1,100, whereas the LG, this is an OLED display, and this is £2,500. Now, when playing content on these, I've got to say, wow. The LG was as expected. It looked absolutely mint, but I was surprised how good the TCL was too. Now, something I did notice is on the TCL, the colours were a bit more saturated, more vibrant, they did pop more, whereas on the LG, the colours were a bit flatter, probably more true to how they were actually filmed. Now, something I did notice is, if you take a look at this shot here, what you can see is in the background, if you take a look at the skyline, on the LG, there's a bit more detail there, whereas on the TCL, it does lose a bit, it does get a bit bright. But apart from that, everything else looked brilliant. But in some darker scenarios, I did find that the LG, I couldn't actually see, whereas on the TCL, you could see what was still happening in the background. Now, yes, I could have changed some of the picture settings, but I wanted to keep them as close to normal just for this comparison. Now, when playing some HDR content, you can see both look brilliant, and sometimes it's hard to tell which is the more premium TV. And I know it does sound daft, but sometimes it was very close. Now, when it comes to brightness, what I always found with OLEDs is the room had to be pretty dark to be able to get a decent image out of it, but the C5 does look a lot brighter than the previous models. Now, on the TCL, when first turning it on, obviously this is the operating systems that they use, there's a lot of bright stuff going off on the LG, but you will be able to get more brightness out of the TCL. Now, when it comes to audio, this TCL, when I opened it up, it's got two little speakers on the back. I thought, what's happening here? But when comparing the two, there's just some quick clips here you can have a look for yourself.
Speed 238 kilometers per hour and holding steady.
You alright over there?
I do love capping me some bad guys.
Now, when editing the video, I found that the mic on the camera didn't pick up the audio all that well. What I will say is that the LG did sound a little bit crisper at times, but there wasn't that much in it. I do like that TCL have used a dedicated audio company for their speakers though. It's a company called B&O or Bang & Olufsen, if that's how you say it. And although when testing side by side, at times the LG may have sounded a little bit better, both still sounded really good. Now, when it comes to the operating systems, the LG uses a WebOS and the TCL uses Google TV. This is where the TCL is more preferred for me. The reason being, for me, I wouldn't have to plug in an external streaming device, you can sideload onto it and all that sort of stuff, whereas the LG, you're limited on what you can install, although all official apps are still supported on there. But I am a fan of Google TV and Android TV. Now, when it comes to gaming, I tried quickly on both of these TVs and there was a slight difference. It was very slight. The TCL, the input delay is a tiny bit more than the LG, but the LG is known for very quick response times. But the TCL does have up to 144 Hz, whereas the LG goes up to 120 Hz. And when it comes to input lag, if I put up this little chart here, you will see when gaming at 4K at 60 Hz, the difference in delay is only around 0.3 milliseconds. Now, the ports on the back of the TVs, on the TCL you've got 4 HDMI ports, all 2.1, and you have got eARC on there as well. Same goes for the LG C5. You've got one USB port on the TCL, whereas on the LG you've got 3. And I don't know why I'm sat here explaining them, because I'm showing you them over the top of me. Now, when it comes to build quality, the LG seem like the more premium TV. you'd expect that with it costing £2,500. But like the stand, it's metal, it's heavy, it's sturdy. Even the back of the TV's got some kind of like marbly tile effect to it. Whereas on the TCL, like the stand's plastic and a bit more lightweight. Another cost-saving thing that TCL does as well is they do make their own panels. Something I forgot to mention is side viewing angles. So when you're watching both TVs square on, they look absolutely fine. But when you start to go right around to the side, oh hello, when you start to go right around to the side, the LG stays the same brightness, whereas the TCL did seem to go a bit darker. And I want to show you this shot quickly as well. And what I did notice is, from this golf bag here, you can see the TCL really does do a good job of low light situations, especially when you usually get a lot of blooming on some TVs, whereas this really does a good job. Also, something else with this, I noticed on the LG, the white, it didn't look grey, but like I said, with flatter colours, whereas on the TCL, the whites really did seem to pop more. And I could just sit here ages showing you constant B-roll clips of both TVs playing next to each other. I'm interested to know in the comments section as well what you guys think. Now, when editing this, I just need to note that I did set up the camera as good as possible. I don't know if it's going to add different contrasts and brightnesses and stuff, but in person, both looked absolutely mint. And in this video as well, I'm not saying the TCL C7K is better than the LG C5, but it is a lot cheaper, so it's good for people that don't have that kind of budget to buy, such as the LG, or people might think we're not actually gaining that much more off spending over £1,000 more. Now, I've been fortunate enough to have these two TVs to compare them next to each other, but I've got to say, if I didn't have such as the LG and I just went and bought the TCL C7K, I'll be honest, I would be more than happy with it. It is a cracking TV for the money. But obviously, that's just my personal opinion on it. There's going to be loads of different opinions out there. So yeah, that's the comparison between the TCL C7K and the LG C5. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you soon. Ta-da!